Hello, and welcome to another of our 2021 City Council District updates. I'm Dorothy White, and today I'm joined by Dylan Hedrick, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council Representative for District 7. And, you've got a lot going on in your district, but it's not just about your geographical district. Of course, it's about the whole city. So I'll let you kind of kick things off.
Sure. Yeah. Last year, first of all, thank you for inviting me back to do another one of these this year. And, it seems to get easier every year. And being my second go around on council, it's certainly the case. But some of the things we're going to talk about aren't easier. But just to recap, last year, we had a lot of talk about property taxes and home improvement grant program that we accomplished, and actually a very popular program that it was implemented and the funds ran out very quickly. But talk about maybe about that a little later, and also our water district settlement that we had last year. But looking at this year, we had a lot of other challenges, other than property taxes and taxing and that sort of thing. First thing that really started this year off was the Snowmageddon event we had right after Valentine's Day in February. And that was quite the event, as everyone can remember. And I know, thankfully, we were able to open up a warming shelter in my district at Holford Recreation Center. And I was able to help a few citizens out and take them to the shelter. And I know they were very well cared for. So that's good to see the whole community come together again in another event like that. And but moving forward, I know that GP&L is doing a lot of work that they can, trying to look at all their feeders. I know ERCOT had some mandates that had them shut off some of the feeders, but what we can do locally to help our situation out, I know GP&L is looking at having more feeders and subdividing those feeders up so they can more precisely turn off and on residential versus commercial neighborhoods in the future. And that's just part of the post-game analysis that we're doing here, and it's still ongoing. So I know we'll have more about that in the future.
One little thing I want to mention about that too is whenever anyone is looking for information for the city, to start with the city's website and the e-news options that we make available first, because we will always update those first, and they're not subject to the algorithms that social media are. So therefore, you're going to get the information from us quicker.
That's certainly the case. Yeah, and there's always great information on there, and always there's a Sunday newsletter that goes out as well in the email and kind of gives you upcoming events in the city. It's a great resource too. And your office provides that as a wonderful resource for all the citizens.
So I know February was difficult, and I know we're still working with ways to improve should we encounter a similar emergency, and hope we never do. But we've been dealing with another emergency for a year and a half, almost 2 years now, the COVID-19 situation. Let's talk about that a little bit.
And I think that's the reason right now, while we're doing this interview over Zoom, I know when I was first on council 2 years ago now, that was, we did an in-person interview, but still, for health and safety, we're doing it over Zoom. But thankfully, cases are continuing to fall in Garland and looking like we're getting past this third wave now. We're still giving out vaccines through our health department. And I know the health department's done over 40,000 vaccines total, and that includes our mass vaccination events that we had at Homer B. Johnson Stadium. You're still able to walk in today and get one during business hours if you want to go get vaccinated, if you haven't done so already. In the future, we're looking to doing drive-through events possibly at the fire training facility of Highway 66, and even maybe open up a public testing facility there as well, because I know public testing's been lacking, to say the least, as far as finding a COVID test if you need one.
And you all had a memorial established in your district as well.
That's right. The Camelot Neighborhood Association, I'm proud to represent the Camelot neighborhood. They could very well have put the first memorial or the first monument out to COVID first responders and to the medical workers. This was dedicated back in April of this year, and it's a beautiful monument right in the entrance of their neighborhood, right in the median. And it really is just a reminder of how hard it's been over the past 18 plus months now, and how we've dealt with it, but really show of appreciation for all those medical workers and first responders who've really helped us through this.
Yeah. And Another thing that's been really important in your district and throughout the city is looking at issues related to traffic, to parking, to streets. We have been very busy out there.
We have, and with COVID, we got kind of, we knew everyone was working from home again, and we were a little lax on our parking enforcement. This parking marshal program is relatively new for us here at the city, but now we're back to full enforcement. I know I get calls all the time about parking issues, and really there's several issues right now in my district with 18-wheelers parking in some neighborhoods, and that's never good. So we've actually towed an 18-wheeler already from that area, and it's amazing to see the size of the tow truck it takes to tow an 18-wheeler with a trailer attached, but it has to be done. So we're doing that. And we've also had no parking signs installed along that area, but it's not only just the parking enforcement, we're also dealing with the traffic. We've got a new traffic light in my district installed along North Garland Avenue, right at Spring Creek Way. It's right across the Hawaiian Falls there, that crosswalk. It's a big issue. There's all the apartments that are going in my district right across North Garland from Webb Middle School. They'll make it safer for those students to walk across North Garland and when they're getting off school or getting to school. And same thing, we had another crosswalk installed along Shiloh to serve, again, the Camelot neighborhood right at Collins Road for pedestrians to get across to the Greenbelt Park there. So a couple good things for traffic and pedestrians in my neighborhood. I'm very proud that we were able to get those installed.
Well, and you've also, I know there's been a lot of discussion about the railroad crossing at Buckingham and 78. And I know it's caused some traffic disruptions, but that's going to make a big difference when that's complete.
It does. And I drove down there just this week, and it's very nice and new and done now. And I know we have several other railroad crossings around the city that we're going to look forward to updating as part of our bond program.
And speaking of the bond program, there's a lot of activity going on that. Ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, progress reports. Jump in there.
Yeah, we've been busy, to say the least.
2, 3.
We have a ribbon or a groundbreaking ceremony for our downtown square, which is going to be fantastic to have that project finally have seeing the dirt move and the streets torn up. And I know it'll be difficult for a while, but seeing the plans for it, it's going to be really spectacular when it's complete.
And I want to reiterate to everyone, just because the square will be closed, the businesses are wide open and looking for our support. So, and plus we'll have downtown ambassadors to help you kind of find your way, and there'll be maps available to talk about parking. We'll be putting all those updates on the city's website so people will know what's available to them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, there will be, again, we had our last event downtown, Dia de los Muertos, easy for me to say, was just yesterday. And that was probably our last major event we're going to have in the square before construction starts. So it was thousands of people were down there. And I know we'll have to find another place for that, including our Christmas on the square we usually have is going to be this year at Fireworld Town Center that we'll have the lighting of the tree ceremony there instead of downtown while all the construction goes on.
And that's just temporary. It'll come back downtown when we're ready. And in the meantime, we're delighted to have Firewall Town Center partner with us on that.
Exactly, yeah.
But you've got parks and trails and playgrounds, all kinds of things going on too.
Still, yeah, as part of the bond program, we put $120 million plus towards parks and recreation. And we're happy to have three playgrounds already complete as part of the playground reconstruction. One at Bob Hall Park and Lou Huff Park and Douglas Park. And my kids have already been out there and approved. They definitely approve of the playground equipment that they put out there. And we also opened up had a ribbon cutting and ceremony for the opening of Winters Park Trail. It's a 12-foot wide, almost 2-mile long trail that's going across Spring Creek there. And it has a 225-foot bridge, which there's really nice views that overlook the bridge and overlook the creek. And we're happy to have that addition to our trail system added and hopefully keep going with more and more in the future.
Well, and you're also looking forward, I know it's a little ways down the line before it gets going, but you're looking at major improvements to your Holford Rec Center and your park there, right?
Exactly. I've seen the preliminary plans already for the complete tear down of the rec center building and the pool facility. It'll be a brand new, beautiful recreation center with an aquatic center there. And from what I've seen already, the preliminary plans are absolutely gorgeous to have a rec center that really faces 4 sides to include the pool area, the park, the parking lot, and the street, just a 4-sided building. And architects, what I've seen so far, have done a really good job on it.
And there's some other, I mean, it's so exciting that we've been able to reinvest in our amenities, our recreational and the lifestyle amenities that we all need and want all the time. So this is very exciting, but we've gotten some additional funding we can put towards some of those projects too, right?
Right. Through the ARPA fund, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, we were getting about $53 million from the federal government. And we're really using that money to supplement some of the bond projects that, due to inflation, the prices are a little higher than we initially expected. So we're covering up those cost differences, but we're also able to do several more projects at the same time. For instance, we're going to put $8 million to a new tennis facility in Tuckerville Park, which is badly needed. The one in Rick Oden Park right now floods in the floodplain zone, and it's an older facility with the courts are cracking. This new facility will really be a draw for tournaments that we'll be able to host from around the state and be a world-class facility to help really draw a lot of people to Garland.
Yeah. And we're also looking at some improvements at the North Garland Library and some other amenities in some of our other facilities, right?
Yeah, they're going to put about $800,000 in the North Garland Library, which is the only library that's not getting additional funding from the bond program. So I'm glad we're able to put some money towards that library in my district and get that renovated. Part of the Holford Rec, we already talked about a little bit, but we're putting more money to have more sport courts there, pickleball court, basketball courts. Those courts are used all the time. I was out there at my daughter's soccer practice recently, and there's people playing basketball all the time with the beautiful weather. So to be able to have more sport courts is just going to be great for everyone who wants to use those.
That's great. Well, you mentioned Tuckerville, of course, right across the street from Tuckerville. That's where the animal shelter is under construction. And man, that thing is starting to really take shape.
It is. It's well on its way. The whole building structure is there. They're finishing out the interior now. And hopefully we'll be able to have a grand opening for that very soon. And I know my daughter's already been asking me for a dog. I might have to come away with one when it does open. So I'm excited about that.
I have a puppy from the shelter. I say puppy. I've had him for 4 years now.
Yeah.
I love my little puppy from the shelter. But also, speaking of dogs, there's a new shade structure that we're planning for the dog park. That dog park's been really, really popular. I happen to drive by it a lot on my way to and from work, and especially in the evenings. There's just all kinds of folks and their dogs. Everybody and their dog.
There is. And part of the ARPA money, we're able to put another big shade structure to allow some for the humans to have somewhere to sit under the hot sun. So not only for the dogs, but also their owners too, make it a little more comfortable for them.
Yeah. I know another really important issue that the council has to deal with after every census is making sure that our district lines are drawn up correctly. Talk about that.
Sure. My district, it was one of the highest population districts, and because of the additional growth in my area and the new apartment buildings we have, we're going to have to lose some of my areas that I'm representing, especially the areas around North Garland High School. It's sad to see those areas go. They'll be likely move into District 8, but it just has, it's part of the political process, and I know that they'll be well represented by Councilman Smith, so I don't think there'll be any problems with that at all.
Oh, no, not at all. And the goal of the redistricting is to make sure we have a balanced number of people in each district, that each council person's representing a very, very similar number of people, correct?
Exactly. We all represent about 30,000 citizens each, and mine was getting a little large, so we'll have to rebalance this out.
Yeah. Well, that, every 10 years, you take a look and you go, I think we've had some shifting going on around here. So.
Exactly. Yep.
So is there anything else? You've got a great list of things going on, but is there anything else you want to remind everybody of?
I'll just remind everyone that to keep an eye out on buildgarland.com. They can follow along with all the bond progress updates. There's schedules and timelines and pictures up there. And of course, that's something that's going to be a big push on council this coming years, really getting those bond programs, keep the momentum behind them, keep them going, because the citizens voted for them, and it's our promise to deliver those.
Excellent. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I know there's much more coming, and we'll just update those as time goes by. I look forward to doing all those groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings as we continue with the bond projects as well.
Me too. That's the fun part of the job.
It is. It is. So thank you, Councilman Hedrick, Mayor Pro Tem, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you at the next City Council District Update.
Thank you.